but you know me. Sometimes I switch the order. So we'll do the meditation afterward. I think it'll make more sense. But let us take a deep breath, release, and be here. So I went to college in Michigan, and when I was in college, I think I had many near-death experiences in college. I don't know about you, and I went to a private religious school, but still there were moments. It was one night we had all gone off campus to one of our schoolmates that was off campus, living off campus, and we had a great time, and it was time to get back to the dorms. So we piled into 2 cars. One was a Supra. I don't know if you remember how small a Supra is. By the way, we drove from New York to Michigan in a Supra, 5 of us. College life, near death. But we'll get back to this. The other was a Honda Accord. So there were about 4 or 5 of us in the Honda. There were 5 of us in the Honda, and then there were like 4 people in the Supra. Wintertime. So we're driving down this road around 9 p.m. and our drivers, these young college men, decide they want to race.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. So the Supra takes the lead and passes us on a 2-lane road, right? One way this way, the other lane this way. Not wanting to be bested, our driver, I was in the Honda. Our driver decides he's going to speed up and pass the Supra. So right before he moves into the opposing traffic lane, we see headlights. He goes for it anyway. The Supra driver now, of course, ego sets in. I don't want to be busted. So he speeds up, so we're not able to pass him. When we try to get over before the oncoming car hits us, our driver loses control of the car for a few seconds because it's an icy road. It's winter. So for all of us, we hold our breath, we scream, we hold our breath again, and we get into the other lane. What a miracle. Merriam-Webster and I are pals, so when I want to make sure I'm fully representing the meaning of words, I look it up on Merriam-Webster. So I looked up the word miracle. And according to Merriam-Webster, miracle means an extraordinary event manifesting divine intervention in human affairs. An extremely outstanding or unusual event, thing, or accomplishment. A divinely natural phenomenon experienced humanly as the fulfillment of spiritual law. Many of us here grew up in some type of religious environment, so we know about Bible miracles, right? Turning the water into wine, raising Lazarus from the dead, feeding a crowd of people with 3 fish and 5 loaves of bread, the parting of the Red Sea. There are so many things we recognize as miracles in the Bible. There are also modern-day miracles we take for granted, like running water, vaccines, working toilets, which we didn't have also for a couple of days, the internet, and smartphones. Some might not call those miracles, but the very ideas that brought these basics to life are miracles. That there are places in the world that don't have these things we take for granted tells us they are miracles. I lived on 11th Street between 3rd and 4th on that beautiful autumn day in September of 2001. I also worked down the street from Wall Street, which is right beyond the location of where the Twin Towers were. That morning, I woke up with a stomachache. I could barely stand up straight. So I called in sick and went back to bed, and was completely fine an hour later when I was awakened by our phone ringing. The person on the other end, frantic, looking for a roommate, telling me to turn on the television. A miracle. I would have been coming out of the subway at the time, same time the first plane hit the first building. Just like me, you're probably thinking about the number of times you were spared from something you thought would be horrific. Or even when something amazing showed up for you at the most opportune time. You're thinking about a miracle. But there's one miracle I think we all fail to give its proper reverence, and that's the one I want to really talk about. When Travis and I were trying to get pregnant with our first child, nothing was happening. Having grown up in a time when girls were often told, in my case indirectly by church teachings, that if you have sex, you will get pregnant. So, you better not have sex. I didn't understand why it wasn't just happening for us. Because, we were having sex. Many of us can attest to the fact that having sex and getting pregnant isn't true for everyone. So, when it wasn't happening, I began to read and learn about my body at the geriatric age of 36. That's what you're called when you're trying to get pregnant past the age of 35. You know what I learned? There are between 40 million and 1.2 billion sperm present in every ejaculation. A person with sperm cells can also continuously produce sperm throughout their lifetime unless their sperm cells are destroyed by something that causes infertility. By contrast, those who menstruate are born with approximately 2 million egg follicles. And it always blows my mind when I think to myself that my daughter was in my mother's womb. And by the time they hit puberty, they have about 450 or so follicles that release eggs. They are born with a set number and cannot produce more. Now, it's not a biology lesson, but it's pertinent to understanding where we're going. Each month, a person who menstruates releases 1, sometimes 2 eggs that have matured. Now, of the million and billions of sperm that are released, only about 10,000 make it to the farthest point of the uterus because the environment is really hostile. White blood cells attack and absorb sperm as they make their way through a person's body. If you've ever seen Fantastic Voyage, where a group of scientists and submarine get shrunk into a microscopic size and injected into a scientist's body to help save his life, you'll understand. As soon as they are injected, they encounter the white blood cells that attack the ship. That's what happens to sperm. Which is why, of the 10,000, only 5,000 make the right turn toward the tube where the egg or eggs have been released. Only 1,000 make it into the fallopian tube where they're supposed to rendezvous with the released egg, and only about 200 actually reach the egg. Of those, only 1 gets to be the victor. It's like lottery, you know? Everybody buys a ticket and then only 1 person gets to win. They get to be the victor and create a human. All the rest are absorbed and destroyed by the body. I didn't learn any of that until I was 36 years old, trying to get pregnant with my first child. Then it dawned on me, we are walking miracles. You, me, all of us, going about our business every day, are all walking miracles. We're the ever-present miracle in our lives that we take for granted, abuse, ignore, and discount. The universe had to conspire in such a way that we would be the ones to arrive as miracles on the planet. Our fingerprints are unique, our eyes are unique, our teeth are unique, our thoughts are unique. Right now, you're all listening to me, but no one is thinking the exact same thoughts as you are. Those are all miracles. Those are all things that need to be embraced and celebrated. And that's just for starters. As humans, we're trained to look outside of ourselves for the incredible. We search for happiness, we search for validation, acceptance, and so much more in other people without giving those things to ourselves. The value we put on other people, for whatever reason, often eclipses the value we place on ourselves. Ignoring the ever-present miracle of our existence doesn't make it any less true that we are unique and that the impossible odds that we overcame to be here makes us each uniquely powerful. The more mature I get, the more I realize how accepting, loving, and honoring myself translates to being more able to accept, love, and honor others. When we see, feel, and understand the ever-present miracle we are, we're more able to see, feel, and understand the miracle of others. As we move into the hectic part of closing the year, I want you to think about the ever-present miracle. Lean into being the miracle for yourself so you can clearly see that miracle in someone else. We cannot give to others what we don't sincerely give to ourselves. Just as we revere the stories of miracles of old, let's revere the story of us. An extraordinary event manifesting divine intervention in human affairs. An extremely outstanding or unusual event, thing, and accomplishment. A divinely natural phenomenon experienced humanly as the fulfillment of spiritual law. Who we are, what we accomplish, what we want, what we love, what we need and enjoy. We are, and owe it to ourselves to revere the ever-present miracle. So I'm going to ask that you close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath in. Release. And just breathe naturally. In a world so filled with brokenness and sorrow, it would be easy to lose ourselves in never-ending grief, to be choked by our outrage, and to be paralyzed by the enormity of suffering, to feel our hearts squeezed tight with hopelessness. Instead, let us breathe together as we hold our hearts open. Breathing in as our hearts fill with compassion. Breathing out as we pray for healing in our world and in our lives. Breathing in, opening ourselves to the transforming power of love. Breathing out as we pray for peace in our world and in our lives. Breathing in as we hold hope in our hearts. Breathing out as we pray for justice in our world and in our lives. May we know our strength. May we be filled with courage. May our love flow from us into this world. Breathing in, we are the prayer. Breathing out, we are the healing. Breathing in, we are the love. Breathing out, we are the peace. Breathing in, we are the hope. Breathing out, we are the justice. May we know our strength. May we be filled with courage. May our love flow from us into this world. May it ever be so. You can open your eyes.